Yo, growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. This is a Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 48. What?
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He broke his arm trying to impress a girl, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Yeah, let's not talk about that. But if you want the full story, just ask and I'll tell you. So what's up? This is Pat Flynn and welcome to the 48th session of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. We're closing in. We're closing in on the big 5-0, that golden podcast. And we have something special lined up for that one. But today, actually, before we get started, I have a really quick announcement, and I'm going to make this announcement twice, one here in the beginning of the show and then once again at the end. The 8th annual podcast awards are now accepting nominees, nominations. And I'd be extremely grateful if you took just 1 minute of your time, went over to smartpassiveincome.com/podcast awards and cast in your nomination for the podcast, for the Smart Passive Income Podcast, for 2 categories. 1, the best business podcast, and number 2, people's choice. You can only nominate a show once, with the exception of the people's choice category. So that's 2 categories again, business and people's choice. Only if you feel there's value in this show, only if you enjoy it and you want to do something small for me in return. You don't have to. I'm not forcing you to, but I would really appreciate it. I was nominated last year, and unfortunately, I did not win in the business category. So I'm back again this year. Need your help. And if you just want to give back even just a little bit, smartpassiveincome.com/podcast awards, just 1 minute of your time. I'd appreciate it so much. And even if you're listening to this in the future, you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/podcast awards and see if I won or not. I'll have a little video for there just to say thanks. And again, thank you all. Even if you don't vote, just you're listening to this. And for that, thank you. So on today's show, we have a special guest who you'll hear has a very interesting story, especially about how he got started, about blogging. I mean, he's a blogger and he has multiple blogs and multiple success stories to share because of his experience with blogging and building a community, which is what we all know blogging is great for. What's cool is that he actually started with he built a blog that was very successful. And, what a lot of people do, just like I did, I created another blog about how I did that. So he actually created a blog to help people with blogging, which, a lot of people do. Like I said, I do it and a lot of people do it, but a lot of people don't succeed with it because they're just rehashing the same information. And it's very tough to kind of jump ahead in that particular niche, how to blog or how to make money online. But this person took it a step further and he created another blog on top of that blog in a space that's totally unrelated to anything make money online or blogging or entrepreneurship. It's crazy. I mean, and so many wonderful things have happened to his life because of that blog. And what happened? That blog proved his worth on his How to blog. And it's just awesome, the work that this guy's done. And so I'm very happy to have him on the show today. You might know this person already, and you might have recognize his voice. He has a very distinctive voice. So we have Leslie Samuel on the podcast today with us. Leslie, dude, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, buddy. How's it going today?
It's going very well, man. How you doing?
I am doing excellent. It was funny because I was actually featured on your podcast not too long ago, and I was talking about how I had yet to have a baby, and now, as everyone knows, she came and she's healthy and great. And now, on the flip side, you and your wife are pregnant with your first child. Is that right?
Oh yeah, we are. Dude, I am so excited. I was gonna say you can't imagine, but you can imagine.
I can imagine twice.
Exactly. We're very excited. We're scheduled to be delivering on November 25. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, man. Well, best of luck. Congratulations to you and your wife. I mean, it's just being a dad is such an awesome thing. I know you're going to enjoy it, and I know you're going to be an awesome father. So I wanted to get that out first. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, and congrats to you on your newborn. That's just awesome.
Thanks, man. So, Leslie and I have known each other for a while online, and in 2011, actually, this was at the Financial Bloggers Conference in Chicago. Cliff Ravenscraft from GSPN.TV and Podcast Answer Man, he and I set up a little meetup at a pizza place, and we just asked people on Facebook who knew us to come by if they wanted to, and Leslie came by, and it was so great to meet him in person. And I'll tell you, he's just as nice in person as he is online. And from there, we ended up going to I don't even remember the name of the restaurant, but it's like an adult arcade with what was the name of that place?
I don't remember the name. I just know we had fun.
Yeah, it was like a Dave and Buster's or something, and
something like that.
You know, it has like arcade games and ticket games and like adult beverages. It was so much fun, and Leslie and I got to hang out and get to know each other really well. I actually first heard about Leslie though from Yaro Stark's blog, entrepreneursjourney.com, in a podcast interview in early 2009. That was incredibly inspiring. I mean, Leslie, you were talking about in that interview how you made about $30,000 in 2008 blogging part-time because you were a teacher, and you're still a teacher, is that right?
I am a teacher. I'm a different type of a teacher now, but yes, I am a teacher.
Yeah, we'll get into that because that's a really incredible story as well. There's so many stories with you, but the fact that you had made $30,000 doing blogging part time, you know, while you still had a 9-to-5 job, or you know, a teacher is probably more than 9 to 5. I think that's an important thing to emphasize because so many of my readers and so many of my listeners I know have a full-time job and are looking for more time or how to break away from the 9 to 5, but don't want to do it cold without having something going on already. So we'll definitely get into that. But I want to ask you, you know, how did you get started before you started blogging? You know, what were you doing, and then why did you start to blog?
Okay, so I can tell you the exact day. It was January 18, 2008 was my first day that I made any kind of money online. It was actually the first day I started looking into. I don't even know how I got onto the website, but I was just browsing around on the internet and I saw something that was called freebie trading. It sounded interesting. You know, you hear about these websites out there that claim you can get a free iPod and a free TV if you complete some offers and refer some friends.
Yeah.
Well, I found out about a system where they had forums where people would go on there and they would pay you to complete offers. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, this is interesting. You know, it's not asking for a lot of money. I'm going to check it out and see how it goes. So I just kind of did my research and then I jumped in. And on the first day, I made $70. And there's something that happened on that day in my mind where it was, wait a minute, you can actually really make money online?
Yeah.
I need to do this more and do it over and over. So, you know, I started studying and seeing how the system worked. And I basically use these freebie websites where there are a number of the freebie websites that actually will pay you per referral. So instead of giving you, you know, an iPod when you refer 5 or 10 people or something of that sort, you would get $40 when you refer one person. And the way it worked on the forums would be you would, you know, get someone to complete an offer on a forum and you would split that money with them. So it was an interesting type of a system where we kind of found a workaround and started exchanging referrals and those types of things. Perfectly legal, but it was just an interesting twist on the situation. So I did that for a while. And I started making money with that. I started making decent money with it for doing it part-time while still having a full-time job.
Right. But wait, hold up. I've never heard of this freebie trade like this. I mean, I've heard of it through your podcast, of course, or through the interview, of course. But I don't get how it works exactly. So, you know, how are people on the other end making money off of this? You know, the people who are providing these freebie offers, who are giving you money for referring people.
Great question. Before I answer that question, let me give a disclaimer. This is not something that I recommend for anyone to get into today because the money just isn't there the way it was.
Okay. So you're not doing this anymore?
No, I'm not doing it anymore. And, you know, a few people still find me from freebie trading information that I have on my blog and so on. And I tell them, you know, it was a great system, but advertisers aren't spending as much money in it as they used to in the past. But it's basically based on an affiliate marketing system where, you know, when you sign up for these websites are acting as affiliates for other companies promoting services and so on. So, for example, you might complete a hosting offer. Well, when you complete a hosting offer, the website, the freebie website, is getting paid by the hosting company maybe $100. And of that $100, they would pay you $40. And then, you know, you get that $40. And what I would do is I would split that $40 with the person that completed the offer for me. So you sign up for the freebie website, you complete an offer, and then you get others to complete offers. And for every offers or set of offers that they complete, you get a certain amount. The website is making money on the other end because they're getting paid as an affiliate. And that's pretty much the way it works. Now, how it works out well for them is that a lot of people will start it, complete a few offers, but not complete the required amount of offers. So they were able to, calculate how many people were going to complete versus how many people were not going to complete. And based on that, they can make payouts that are realistic and still make some money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we probably shouldn't even be talking this much about it because I want to get into the blogging stuff since you said that this freebie stuff isn't working anymore. And that's how I knew you in the beginning. You were the freebie guy, right? You had a website.
That is correct.
thefreebieguy.net. And was that your first blog?
That was my first blog. And I got into that because, with the freebie websites, I was going on the forums, and it was the type of situation where you had to constantly work. If you weren't working, you weren't making any money.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of make it a little more passive. So I thought I found out about blogging. And from what I learned, it seemed that if I set up a blog where people would come to me as opposed to me going to them, and I had systems in place to train the people and give them the information that they needed, it would be much easier for me to make money without always having to be there and doing something.
Okay, so how did you actually start getting traffic to the site? Because, when you start a blog, nobody knows about it.
Yeah, basically what I did, I said before I was doing it on a forum, and I was becoming well established on the forum. People knew me around the forum. So I would go in the forums and I would comment, I would help people, I would answer questions, I would give suggestions, and I was just overall just being helpful. So when I started my blog, all I had to do was say in the forums, hey, I have my new blog and it has this information on there, go and check it out. Or, for example, I did an interview with the owner of the forum, and I'd post in the forum and say, hey, I just did an interview with the owner, go and check it out. And, from one day to the next, really, I had a decent following because of what I had been doing already in the forums.
Right. So you're using the forums as sort of a launching pad for your blog, and you were already doing the work that some people do when they start a blog cold on the forum as far as building an audience and becoming known.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to actually what happened to me and my Green Exam Academy site. I started to become well known in the forums too when my site started to take off. I found a forum where people were talking about my site, and I got on there and I started to become even more of an expert and becoming more accessible to people. And whenever I came out with a new tip or something or a new chart that would help people, it became popular really fast. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate the power of forums, and it's an already established community, and if you can more easily kind of differentiate yourself in a particular niche in a forum, much easier than if you just started a blog cold. So I think if you're having issues trying to find traffic to your website, you might want to look at some forums, because a lot of people don't even think about that as a potential traffic source or a place to build an audience that can then kind of help your blog take off.
You gotta think about this. People that go on forums are people that are really into a topic. They get excited about it. I mean, enough to go on a forum and discuss whatever that topic is. So that's like a really good place to get people that are passionate about a topic to be exposed to your brand, to your blog, to what you're doing online. Of course, you have to make sure to do it within the guidelines of the forum, but there's a lot of potential there, definitely.
Yeah, totally. And you can't go into a new forum, like if you have a blog already and you're looking for more traffic. I think a forum is a great way to get more traffic and more exposure for your blog, but you can't just go in there and say, hey guys, check out my blog, or pretend that you know everything, because you're the new guy in school, and you need to kind of meet people first and get them to know who you are, and just give something to people first before you can ask for anything back. And so you just kind of have to be careful and think about it, what it's like from the community's point of view, and this new guy coming in, what would help them and what would make them eventually want to go over to your site.
Exactly.
Okay, so you had this freebie thing. When did that end?
That, it kind of transitioned between 2009 and 2010, because what actually happened was, I was doing well on the forum. I started doing well with my blog, and then eventually I bought a forum. There was a smaller forum that had about 10,000 members, and it was dealing with freebie trading, and the owner wanted to get rid of it. And I thought to myself, hey, this would be a great thing to add on to what I'm doing. So I bought the forum at a really good price, and I built the forum. Me and my partner and I, we built the forum, and we did a whole bunch of stuff to build the forum up. I think within a few months, it was up to 40,000 members.
Wow.
So that in and of itself was a very interesting experience.
So that probably helped. Was it so? You still had your freebie blog at that time?
I did.
So it probably helped a lot of traffic come over.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened, because one of the things that I did is I made a lot of training videos, and in the training videos on the forum, and I thought to myself, that's a good way to set this forum apart from the others. So I made training videos, and at the end of the videos, I would say, come back to my blog at thefreebieguy.net, and that would drive traffic to the blog. So it was a kind of a reciprocal thing. People would go from my blog to the forum, from the forum to the blog, and it was great. To a certain extent, it was great.
Oh, that's cool. Now, okay, so you have this forum. Can you give us a rough idea of how much a forum of 10,000 people would cost?
At the time, I think I paid something like $1,800. I think that was the number. Yeah,
that's
I think
not too bad.
$1,800. No, it was a good price. The guy just really needed some money to pay some bills, and he didn't care about the forum anymore, so he just wanted to get rid of it.
I know you have a ton of other blogs and stuff going on. What happened after the freebie stuff? Your forum and your blog started to die down. Where did you go next?
Okay, so after the freebie stuff, I just wasn't passionate about freebies, about freebie trading. Honestly, I'm not even very passionate about making money. I am passionate about helping other people and helping people to be able to, influence people in a positive way, be able to get your message out there. I'm very interested in helping people do that. And I started to notice that, this freebie stuff, is cool to get a free iPod and a free TV and some money here and there, but that's not where I was passionate. And I started falling in love with the concept of blogging. And I wanted to basically teach people how to do what I did with my blog, and how to get your stuff out there, and how to build a blog and turn it into an online business, supplement your income so that, you don't have to worry as much about bills and those types of things. That's helping people. So I started to evolve from the freebie guy to what was learning with Leslie, because, I thought there was much more than, this freebie stuff. So I started my podcast. I started writing about blogging. I started helping people start blogs and those types of things based on what I had learned in what I was doing to build my Freebie Guy blog and to build now the Learning with Leslie blog.
So your Freebie Guy blog, how successful was that?
Well, it was successful enough that I didn't have to go out there to go into forums to get people to come to my blog. I was getting decent traffic. I was making, in the first year I made about $31,000. The second year, I don't remember off the top of my head how much I made, but it was somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. And that's just based on traffic that's coming to my blog, based on some of the affiliate promotions and so on that I was doing. So it was doing relatively well.
Okay, so the fact that you had this blog and you were reaching a lot of people and teaching a lot of people about freebie trading and hooking up with people that way, you felt that was special, and you wanted to kind of share with other people how to kind of create their own communities.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. And blogging is absolutely a wonderful way to create communities, as we all know. Now, I know that you are a biology teacher.
Yes,
right? And
I am.
That's another one of your passions, is biology. And I remember, I don't even remember when, but I remember clicking on a link on Yaro's site, and it took me to this video that you created about biology.
Okay, this is what happened. When I was in school, I did a bachelor's degree in biology, and then I did a master's degree in neurobiology. I just got fascinated by the brain and how it works and the nervous system, and I guess I'm just a nerd, and I just fell in love with the topic. I wanted to go on and do my PhD and then become a university professor. when I was doing my master's, I had the great opportunity of being sent to Germany to do research. And I went to Germany and I was doing research in neurobiology, but I was doing research on crickets. And I would stay in a lab for many, many hours in a day, sometimes up to 16 hours in a day, just dissecting crickets, doing recordings from neurons. It drove me crazy.
When was this? What year was this?
This was in 2003 and 2004. In the
Okay,
summer
so way back.
2003 and 2004 and 2005.
Okay, so you're sick of crickets.
I am sick of crickets. All I want to do is teach. I'm sick of research. All I want to do is teach. And I know that if I want to be a university professor, I'm going to have to do a PhD. And if I'm going to do a PhD, I'm going to have to do much more research than I did when I was in Germany in a lab with crickets. And that did not sound appealing to me. So I gave up on that. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to teach at the high school level. And I started teaching at the high school level, and I was having fun for a little while, but I just felt the urge to teach the more advanced things that I would be teaching at the university level. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. I have a blog. I had a blog where I was teaching people about freebie trading. And then I had a blog that I was teaching people about how to blog. And I was building a community. People were coming and checking out what I had to say. Why in the world don't I start a blog about biology teaching exactly what I wanted to teach? So that's exactly what I did. And actually, you were part of inspiring me to do that because I saw what you were doing with your Green Exam Academy blog. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. I remember listening to an interview that Yarrow did with you.
Yarrow again,
and I thought to myself, that was around the time when I was thinking, I'm teaching, but this is not what I want to be doing. And I saw that you were doing that. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, why don't I just teach what I want to teach online? And that's exactly what I did. I started putting biology videos online, putting them on my blog. And then, it took off from there. I used the exact principles that I had learned about blogging and about building a community online to blog about something that I'm really passionate about. No PhD, but no research, no crickets, and I'm all good. So I was just having a blast putting up videos, adding content, and just building that blog.
So how did that blog do, or how is that blog doing?
Oh man, that blog is doing very well. I mean, I started that one in January of last year, so January of 2011. And, on YouTube, I have about over 1.9 million views, going up to 2 million, over 11,000 subscribers. And, the traffic is doing well. I get anywhere between, depending on if school is in or if school is out, but up to 35,000 unique visitors a month. It's going well. But, here's the thing, it getting views and all those type of things is great. But what's even better, the amount of emails I've probably gotten since I started that blog, 2,000 messages from people all over the world telling me what the site is doing for them and how it's helping them and how, they did terribly in school and then they found my videos and now everything makes sense. I mean, it's overwhelming. The type of emails that I've been getting. So, for me, it's extremely successful, not just because a lot of people check it out, not just because it's making money on the side, but because it's helping people. And that really gets me excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what you said at the beginning is why you got into blogging, is to help people. So first you started helping people along with yourself with the freebie guy stuff. Then you got into your how to blog site and helping people start blogs. And then you got into this biology stuff. The whole time you're helping people. That's great. That's amazing.
It's awesome. You know what? I have an email here. I want to read part of it for you.
Sure.
Because this really solidifies why I do what I do. Okay, so I'm going to leave the name out, but it says, I can't begin to tell you how much your work means to me and my family. I've just taken my first teaching job after years in the healthcare industry and was thrown into a high school that has no textbooks, given 1 day's orientation and well over 100 students who had been falling behind the state required standards because they've been waiting for new teachers. Without your lectures and free materials, I never would have been able to survive the first week. It's a critical job for my family as well. We're down to the most bare food, and I couldn't afford to fail. God bless you for making this available. I will certainly remember your donations link as soon as I can. You've kept me, my children, and an impoverished inner city school afloat. No better life's work than that, I'd imagine.
Wow.
And to get an email like that, letting you know what it's doing for people, that is what keeps me going. That is what, I get tired sometimes of doing it. I have a full-time job. I'm become a blogger. I'm building my interactive biology websites. And sometimes, you get tired and you say, you know what, maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing. But then you get emails like this and you have to keep going. It just gets me so excited. Anyhow.
I love that email, Leslie. That's great.
It's awesome.
So this biology website, what's the URL?
It is interactive-biology.com.
interactive-biology.com. How did you... Okay, so I know with Green Exam Academy and my lead exam stuff, I was one of the only people who was talking about that stuff at the time. It's such a selective niche, a niche within a niche, actually, in the architecture industry. So it was, I guess I could say, compared to biology, relatively easy to become known in the field. How in the heck do you take something so general like biology, where you're competing with probably hundreds of thousands of other sites that teach biology and books that students have with their exact curriculum? How do you get your biology site with something so general, really to stand out and become known and see almost 2 million views and get 40,000 visitors a month? How does that happen?
Two things. You get very specific. When I started, it wasn't just biology in general. I focused on, first, I dealt with the nervous system. And I dealt with physiology of the nervous system. That's number one. But number two, I tried to do it different than everyone else that I had seen out there. Yes, there were a ton of biology blogs, a ton of biology websites. But I noticed that none of them had really short, simple videos with someone just kind of drawing on a screen or talking about a concept, but just doing it one simple concept at a time. Because I know when you hear neuroscience or neurobiology, you think to yourself, oh man, that's some complicated stuff.
Yeah.
But if you can take that and you can take one piece of it and make it so simple that even, an elementary school student can watch it and understand exactly what you're saying, that is different than what anyone else that I had seen was doing. So that's exactly what I did. I made really short videos, in the beginning, I had a guideline of 5 to 10 minutes. And then I even brought that down even less to 3 to 5 minutes on average. Really short, really simple, one concept, teach that one concept, and that's it. And that was very effective. And it was different than what anyone else was doing. So I think that by doing it that way, I was able to set myself apart. And when people saw it, they thought to themselves, okay, that is different. This is helping me. I want more of this.
Right. And so was most of your traffic coming from YouTube, you think?
I know most of my traffic is still coming from YouTube. A lot of it also is coming from SEO, because I have my assistant go through and transcribe every video and format it and link between posts and make sure everything is, done well, so that I'm getting the best benefit for every piece of content that I'm putting out there. And that helps a lot. So right now, actually, Google is my number one referral. And then after that, it would be YouTube.
Nice. What's your most popular video?
My most popular video is how blood flows through the heart.
How blood flows through the heart. Okay, I'll have to check that out. And then, how many people? Is that the same as your top keyword for Google too, or is that something different?
My top keyword is interactive biology, because that's the name of the site.
That's your brand. It's a good sign when your brand is your top keyword.
Exactly. And I also have a lot of traffic coming from all types of combination of keyword phrases that have to do with the heart. So definitely that is a big part of my traffic also.
Right. That's awesome, dude. Now, you said that you were making money from this site. How are you making money from this site?
I'm making money in two ways. Number one, I'm using AdSense. And number two, I created a study guide that I'm selling from the website. So those are the two ways that I'm monetizing it right now. I actually just started with another way of monetizing it, where there's a company that I work with that lists tutors on my website. And anytime you you make an initial contact with one of the tutors, I get a small commission. So those are the three main ways. The third one is something new that I'm testing out right now.
Oh, that's cool. Now, is that specific for biology, or is that in all fields?
The company does for all fields, but they can customize it to your site. So if you go on my site, you'll see tutors specifically for biology.
Cool. Are you allowed to share that resource with people?
Yes, it's called Wyzant, WYZANT.com. And I think they're the largest provider of tutors online or something of that sort. They have 50-something thousand tutors across the U.S. And I'm testing it out right now. I think I get like $7 every time someone sends that first initial email to a prospective tutor. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to test that out and see. It's a new deal that I just came up with.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. WYZANT.com. Wyzant. That's such a weird name, but it sounds familiar to on my security guard training site. I have a job board where people who are looking for jobs can connect with employers in the security guard industry, and that's run through Indeed.com, which is one of the largest job sites. And I get about, I don't know, a quarter every time someone connects with an employer. So $7. I mean, that's great. Every time you connect someone with a tutor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I said, hey, I might as well try it out and see how it goes.
Awesome. So I love that example of the biology site. Now, I know that something amazing just recently happened as a result of your website to you and reaching one of your goals. Can you explain kind of what happened?
Oh, man, yes. It's exciting stuff because, as I said, I wanted to be a university professor, but that research stuff, the crickets, it just drives me crazy. But one day I got a letter in the mail. Man, I get so few letters that everything is online. Anyhow, I got a letter in the mail saying that the school that I went to, they're looking for a university professor in the Doctor of Physical Therapy program that would be teaching the foundation sciences like anatomy and neuroscience and pathophysiology. And I thought to myself, man, that sounds interesting. Actually, let me take it back a little bit, because in April of last year, my dad was sent to the country of Colombia. He's in St. Martin right now. That's where I'm from, and that's where he lives. He was sent to Colombia, and he was diagnosed with an illness that he had to get emergency treatment. And I left everything and I went down there to be with my family and so on. And while I was down there, it's interesting how things happen. While I was down there, the main thing I was doing was helping him out with physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And while in that situation, I had a number of discussions with my mom and my aunt and my sister, and they kept telling me, man, you should get into physical therapy. You'd be a good physical therapist. And I kept telling them, I thought about physical therapy, but I want to teach. I know that's where I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm passionate about. I love to share information with each other. And that was an ongoing discussion for the month that we were down there in Colombia. When I came back, there was a letter in the mail from the physical therapy department saying, they're looking for candidates. And they just sent it to everyone that graduated with any degree that was remotely related to it. And I thought to myself, man, something interesting is going on. So I decided to, send in my application. I called one of my former professors, and I said, I'm thinking about applying for this job. Do you mind going in there and talking to the chair of the department? He went in there, he spoke to the chair of the department, and he could tell that the guy wasn't impressed. So he called me and he said, you know what? I think you should come down here and just meet with him and show him what you're doing. So I go down to meet with this guy. This is pre-interview. They weren't even going to call me for an interview, honestly, because I don't have a PhD. They have, 30 applicants, doctors and physical therapists and all that kind of stuff. And they saw my stuff and they're like, who is this guy? So I went down and I met with him, and I went into his office, and he was like, okay, so, what's up? How can I help you? And I told him, I know you guys are looking for people with PhDs and so on, but I just want to show you what I'm working on. And he had this demeanor. He wasn't very interested in what I had to say. But I took him to my interactive biology blog, and he started looking at it, and I was browsing around and showing him, hey, here's some of the videos that I'm making, teaching some of the content that I would be teaching if I were to be hired by you guys. And he started looking, and you could see his demeanor change where he started like getting into the website and getting excited about what I was doing. At the end of the discussion, he said, you know what? You were not even going to be considered, but now I'm going to make sure that you're at least considered. Make a long story short, went in for the interview, showed them what I was doing. I was supposed to teach some lessons and all that kind of stuff. They didn't even have me do that. The next day, he called me in and he said, you know what? It was a unanimous decision. Everybody wants you to take this position. And if you're interested in it, we'll give it to you. I was so excited because this is my dream job, teaching at a university, and I didn't have to do the cricket thing. Actually, now they're going to pay for me to go and do a PhD, which I don't mind as much. But at least right now, I get to teach the things that I'm passionate about, and it is a direct result of what I was doing online. A lot of people think, they say, I want to have this type of job, and they apply for jobs, and the biggest thing you hear is you don't have the experience. And a lot of people kind of give up and say, I don't have the experience. I say, you know what? With the tools that we have today, go out there and make that experience. You don't need anyone to give you that experience anymore. You can go out there, you can demonstrate your expertise. And even if you're not an expert, you can demonstrate the process that you're going through to become an expert. And in the process, you are becoming an expert. And that is the experience. That is great experience because you get to do it on your own terms and you get to be able to create that experience. So, it's exciting stuff, man.
Dude, that is so awesome. Gosh, man, there's so many awesome things happen when you just put yourself out there, I have many examples. I got hired by Hollywood to do some of their movies. That happened as a result of my podcast. I recently was featured on Forbes and on Fox News because of just what I've been doing on my blog. And it's just so, gosh, people, you just got to put yourself out there and create something awesome. And wonderful things are going to happen, like they just did with Leslie. So, Leslie, congratulations. Have you started teaching as a professor yet?
Oh, yeah. I started I started officially teaching last school year. But the first semester I was co-teaching with the other professor that was there. And then I started last semester. But now I'm just full in teaching classes. Some of the classes that I'm teaching, I've never even taken. But, I'm awesome. Passionate about it. And I'm going out, I'm doing the studying that I need to do. So that I can be able to teach these guys. And not only that, now I'm using what I'm doing in my classes to build my blog even more. So, it's a win-win type of situation. I think it comes back to something that I hear you say all the time, be everywhere. That is such a significant concept that people underestimate. The tools that we have, you can be everywhere today. It's easy to do that. And I'm doing that from my little office here in my apartment. And I'm reaching people that are all over the world, over 170 different countries, people that want to learn. And by being in different places, being on Facebook, being on YouTube, being on my blog, and being on Twitter, and all these types of things, I'm able to impact lives. I'm able to make my experience, and I'm able to open up all of these different types of opportunities. I mean, it's just awesome, man. I get so excited about it. And, my friends call me, some of my friends call me the blogger because I keep talking about this type of stuff because I think there's so much power in blogging, in being out there and putting yourself out there and delivering value to people that need it.
Yeah, man, that's such an awesome, amazing story. What I love is that you had a blog at first, then you started talking about blogging, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people even don't have a blog before they start talking about how to blog with the blog, which is interesting. But then from there, you created another site outside of the blogging niche and proved what you've just what you're teaching on your other site, which I think is great. And the one thing I want to talk about that I mentioned in the beginning is you do this part-time. You're a professor now, which is awesome. How are you balancing working as a professor and blogging at the same time?
That is the famous question, the one that I get asked all the time. You got to be very clear about what your priorities are. For me, my priorities are my family, number one. Well, actually, number one, my relationship with God. That's a big thing for me. My family, what I do at my job, and what I do online. So right then and there are a whole bunch of things that can be excluded. I can't spend as much time watching TV and figuring out who's the next American Idol. I don't have the time to do that. So once I know what my priorities are, I can eliminate a lot of other stuff. That saves a lot of time, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I try to batch process what I do. When I was building my biology site, I was teaching at a boarding school, a private Christian boarding school. And if you know anything about boarding school, that's not a 40-hour per week type of a thing. That's a round the clock type of a situation. We lived on the campus. All right. So I didn't have much time. So what I did, all of my videos for the week, I made on Sunday. Whatever I made on Sunday, that's it. I don't have time to do anything else because once my week starts, things go crazy. So I post those throughout the week based on what the work that I did on Sunday. So that was batch processing. The next thing I do is I outsource. Right now I have 2 awesome assistants, and they do so much for me, and they help me to be able to do much more than I could ever do. So when I make a video and I upload it to YouTube, that's it. I have an assistant that takes care of transcribing it, posting it to the blog, linking within to different articles and different videos and so on, dealing with all those types of things, answering my general email and those types of things because I don't have the time to do that. Now I have someone that deals with all of the tech stuff, so that's stuff that I don't have to do. So it's all about deciding what you need to do and eliminating what no one needs to do, mm-hmm. and then outsourcing what someone needs to do, but it's not you. And that's really the system that I try to use. I'm very particular with my outsourcing process. I'm very detailed with it. I have outlines as to how to do the different things that need to be done. I make sure that they are extremely clear on what needs to be done. And it's evolved over time, but it has allowed me to accomplish so much more.
Yeah, I think that's a great plan for anyone out there who has a job or who has other obligations, which I know a lot of us do. But we still want to build our business, So those 3 things, again, are 1, understand your priorities, which means getting rid of American Idol and some other things, which is unfortunate because, I don't watch American Idol, but I do watch a lot of ugly TV. I just can't help it. But I've cut down. I've cut down a lot, and which is what you need to do. And what's that one episode going to do for the rest of your life?
Exactly.
Number 2, batch process your work, which I think is an extremely valuable tip. I do that with my emails. I'll answer emails in batches of 1.5 to 2 hours at a time, and I can get rid of a ton of emails as opposed to, just doing, answering emails every time they come in. And then, you have that transition period between when you're working versus when you're writing emails, and it takes time and it just adds up. So definitely batch processing. And then number 3, outsourcing, which is something that I, in the beginning, did not feel comfortable doing. I did not feel comfortable handing over any sort of control to anybody, especially someone overseas for, relatively lower price. Now, but I've learned, I also, like you, have 2 VAs now who are just doing so much for me. A lot of stuff that I would never do or just don't want to do. Or don't know how to do. So I'm definitely, improving how much work I'm getting done, which has become very useful now that I have 2 kids.
Definitely.
So you might have to have another assistant on board when you have your third, or when you have a third assistant on board when you have your child.
Exactly.
That's what I would say. So that's great. I mean, what are some of the biggest challenges you think people face, or that you've faced when trying to build a blog while working a separate job?
one of the biggest challenges that I faced personally, and this actually caused me to give up on blogging and everything that I was doing at one point when I was running the forum and running my blog and all that kind of stuff. I was not a well balanced person. I was either at work or I was at work. So at work for my job or at home working on my online business. Now, I told you what my priorities were. Yeah, I said number one, God. Number two, my family. Those two, which I said were my priorities, were not happening.
Mm.
And my relationship with my wife was being impacted by that significantly. And I was just tired all the time, and I was stressed out. And at a certain point, I said, you know what? Forget this. I am done. I didn't at that point. I didn't do any outsourcing. I just worked. And so finding that balance and knowing how to balance your time between work, life, personal, family, social, and all those types of things. That was.
Hey, Leslie, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I lost you after you started talking about social.
Yeah, sorry, I pulled out a cable by mistake.
We're gonna keep that in there, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all good. It's all good. So I was saying, I was neglecting the things that were really important. When I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get back into this, I made a decision that I would do it differently. I would get some help. I would spend time with my family because that's important, and I would prioritize a little better and let what I do actually reflect what I know my priorities are. So that was a huge challenge for me. Another challenge is just finding the time to keep up with everything, and it's something that I keep modifying, and I learn, different ways of dealing with time management and so on. And it's a work in progress. It's always outsourcing. It's always evolving. And then also learning how to outsource the right way. That was a challenge because in the beginning, I would outsource a project and I'd get back something and I'm like, what in the world was that? And where did that come from? So just learning how to do it the right way was also a challenge. But you develop systems and you get the hang of things, and things start to go more efficiently.
So now, we've talked about Yarostar quite a bit here. I know a lot of people know he was an inspiration to me when I first started, and I know that you took part in one of his courses, right?
Correct.
The blog mastermind.
I took part in blog mastermind and then become a blogger, which he did with Gideon.
Right. I remember become a blogger. I've heard a lot of great things about it, and now I see that you're the face of Become a Blogger.
That is correct.
How did that happen?
It was interesting because I went through his course, the first course, but a lot of people go through courses and then they go through another course and then they go through another course and they never do anything. But what I did, I went through the course, and every week when I got a lesson, I made sure to take action on it. And I'd take action on it, and I'd come back and I'd report to them. I had that accountability, and I would share openly what I was doing and what the results were. And when I had some success and I was making a certain amount of money, I went back and I said, hey, this is what's going on. I'm excited. I'm enjoying this stuff. So obviously you're going to start to stand out I'm going to start to stand out in his mind as somebody that's taking action. Eventually, I had started doing my own little course that I had that was called a 7-day boot camp, where I teach people to set up a blog in 7 days and how to build a business out of it. And I did that for free. And it went very well. Now, Gideon and Yaro saw what I was doing, and, they had become a blogger. It had been out of date for a while, and they closed it down and they weren't doing anything with it. They wanted to revive it, and they saw what I was doing, and they said, you know what, he would be a good person to work with to take it over and to kind of build it from, update the videos and to continue to work on it and continue to build it. And they approached me one day and they said, hey, would you be interested in taking over Become a Blogger? And when they asked me that question, I was like, are you kidding me? Would I be interested in doing that? I would love to do that. And then, one thing led to the next. Eventually, I started recording the videos and putting together the systems and the program and all that kind of stuff. And now I am fully managing Become a Blogger. And it's an awesome experience because before I was sharing my story and helping people to do similar things, and what this allowed me to do was to help many more people because of course they have their audiences and a significant amount of exposure. So to be able to help 100 people, awesome. No, you know what? To be able to help one person is awesome. To be able to help 10, even better. To be able to help thousands, oh man, it just puts me on cloud nine, man.
Yeah, that's an awesome opportunity. I mean, I think that I know that they selected the right person. I mean, I couldn't think of anyone else because I know you've gone through all of Yaro's courses. You were someone who took action and saw results. So of course, I mean, if Become a Blogger, which was Yaro at Gideon's course, was kind of falling away, I mean, no better person than you to bring it back. And I did not take that course. I took a different course when I first started, and I think that was actually pretty significant for getting me to where I am today, to have a sort of kind of a community, a set of videos and specific instructions on what to do. I think, I went through Internet Business Mastery with, with Jay and Jeremy, which was great. And, I always recommend to people, when you first start out, you can get a lot of that information for free, really. If you look it up through Google or whatever, but it's just so much easier when it's all laid out there for you.
Oh, man.
And I have not taken your course. I'm just going to be honest and upfront, but I have heard great success stories come out of the course, just like your success story out of Blog Mastermind. So, I know your videos. I know the quality of what you have. I know if people go to your biology site, they'll see exactly how much time and effort you spend on each video. And I know that you're here to help and you're not just some guy who's just trying to make money. And of course, there's a lot of free stuff you can get on Become a Blogger as well. And but there is, of course, the kind of premium memberships. And I know that, we've discussed beforehand, you were kind enough to offer sort of discount for anyone listening to this podcast who wanted to kind of take a look at Become a Blogger, and if it was something that interested them, to get some sort of a discount. So what is that discount? First of all, thank you. And what is that discount and how do they get it?
Oh, no problem. If you use the coupon SPI for Smart Passive Income, you will get 20% off of the cost of the course. And something I was going to say right before that, and this isn't specific to Become a Blogger or any specific course, but I have a full-time job. When I started, I had a full-time job, and if I had to take the time to go to all the blogs and learn everything that I needed to know, I would not be doing what I'm doing today, and having that guidance is great. I know that Internet Business Mastery, they do a great job with that. I started listening to their podcast and I love what they're doing. And there are a number of people out there that have really good courses. And especially if you're someone that doesn't have the time, I know that there are some people out there that don't have the money to do it. And for you might have to invest more time, but to get that guidance, I think it's valuable. It's been invaluable for me. So if anyone is interested in going through Become a Blogger, of course, you can check out the free stuff. There's a lot of free stuff. Everything you need to set up a blog is there for free. And then I have my podcast and I teach. I try not to hold anything back. It's not as if I'm saying, I only want the premium members to know how to build a successful blog. No, I want to help people because I believe, and this is my slogan that I go with, changing the world one blog at a time. I believe the more good people, not just people, the more good people we have out there that are blogging in ways that can help people, the better we can make this world. And that's kind of where my passion is. As you've probably seen from all the stuff that I've been talking about on this interview, I just believe that a blog is an excellent platform to help to exchange ideas, to share concepts, to help people. And I think more people need to be doing it. More good people need to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree too. And obviously expanding outside of the blog and doing YouTube videos like you are and podcasts like you are too. I mean, you have an excellent podcast on Become a Blogger as well. Thank you for having me on a couple of weeks ago. I'll link to that in the show notes. All right, and just to finish up, the number one, I know you're all about blogging. So what's the number one blogging tip that you have for people to leave them with today?
The number one blogging tip is be you. When it comes to standing out from the crowd, one of the things I like to tell people is you need to infuse your personality in there because there's no other you in the world. So people want to know how to be unique. You can be unique by just being yourself and letting people see who you are. And you can do that by sharing stories and just sharing your enthusiasm for the topic. Just putting you all up in that content so that people get something special when they come to your blog.
Love that. Thank you. You're obviously living that, so perfect tip.
Awesome.
Thanks, Leslie. Take care. All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Leslie Samuel from lots of places, interactive-biology.com. I recommend you check out that site. It's really well put together. Check out the videos. You can actually get sucked into a lot of the videos and learn a lot of things, which is great and speaks highly about the kinds of videos he's creating and the quality of them. And you can also find Leslie at becomeablogger.com. And just a reminder, the show notes are available, as always, at smartpassiveincome.com/session48 if you want to get the notes and links there. And just a little clarification on that discount code that Leslie gave for 20% off the premium course at becomeablogger.com. The discount code is SPI. I'm actually not an affiliate for that course. And it's not because I don't believe that course is great. I'm sure it is. The quality that of stuff that Leslie puts out on his other sites are fantastic. So I'm sure it's great in there too. And Become a Blogger actually originates from Yarrow Stark and Gideon Shalwick, who I look up to very much. So I'm sure that course is great. I just have a philosophy on the Smart Passive Income blog where I cannot, I don't feel comfortable earning a commission on products that I haven't used myself. I want to be an extremely amazing resource for things that I promote, and I don't know this course that well enough because I haven't gone through it. But if you have questions about it, you could definitely go through Leslie. You can talk to him at becomeablogger.com or get a sneak preview of what the courses are like at becomeablogger.com. But I just have that very strict philosophy, and I'm going to stick to it. And this is one moment where you would still get that discount with the coupon code SPI, but I wouldn't be getting commission, and that's okay. Don't let me not getting commission not let you go and check it out if that's something you're interested in. If Leslie's message jives with you, by all means, go ahead. It's up to you. Now, if you do want to help me out, one quick reminder, just like I mentioned in the beginning, if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/podcast awards, if you're listening to this in early October, you can cast a nomination for me in the business and or people's choice category. If you're listening to this later, you might be able to vote if I've received enough nominations, or if you're in the very far future, you can actually see if I've won or not. I'll have a redirect to a page that explains what happened. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support. That'll only take a minute. smartpassiveincome.com/podcast awards. And just even if you don't go there, just thank you. Thank you for listening, taking the time out of your day. It's almost an hour here. Hopefully you had a nice jog or a nice drive, or you're at the gym, you're crushing it. Wherever you're listening to this, thank you. I owe you one. And I would love to know what you think. Again, show notes, smartpassiveincome.com/session48. Leave a comment. Want to know what you think. And that's it. Just keep killing it out there. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next episode, session 49, where I'm actually bringing in a guest who has implemented a lot of the strategies that I have implemented on a niche site and is doing really well, doing really, really well. I can't wait to share this success story with you and just show you that any niche you can kill it in. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Take care. I'll see you in the next episode. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Hey there, quick pause here because I have to tell you about a tool that completely transforms the podcasting workflow, Riverside. I get it. I used to juggle multiple platforms just to record one podcast episode. It was exhausting. Zoom for recording, Audacity for editing, and then a bunch of different apps just to create clips and social posts. I've tried other ones as well. They were okay, but they were clunky and super time-consuming. That's where Riverside has massively helped. I can do it all in one place, recording, editing, repurposing, one platform, one streamlined flow. I just log in, record with my guests no matter where they are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video all in one. And get this, even if your Wi-Fi glitches, Riverside records locally on your device so everything sounds and looks crystal clear. But here's my favorite feature, Riverside's AI editing tool. You can remove silences and filler words with just one click, hours saved. With Magic Clips, Riverside also automatically finds the best moments and turns them into ready-to-post videos for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, all without the extra editing. So if you're looking to level up your production quality and simplify your workflow, go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. It's built by creators for creators, and I think you're going to love it.